हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करो वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So we are seeing the 18th chapter of Gita, begins with Arjuna's question regarding the meaning of the two terms sannyas and tyag. So Bhagwan replies that to give up all desire prompted activities, kamya karma, is called sannyas, and to perform all our nitya karma, naimittik karma, yajna, like yajna dana tapak karma, but without having attachment to the result, with nishkam bhav, dedicating all these actions to Ishvara. If one does this, then the antakarana will become pure. And this person will, what you call this sadhana, will, that purified mind gives rise to that jidnyasa, and one can gain that self-knowledge, and through niridhyasan gain abidance in the self. One gains that enlightenment, freedom from all bondage. Such an enlightened person, Bhagwan describes in the 10th verse, कि न द्वेष्टि अकुशलम कर्म कुशले न अनुषज्यते त्यागी सत्व समाविष्टः मेधावी छिन्न संशयः. This tyagi, one who had renounced the karma phala but performed his actions, kartavya karma, dedicating to Ishvara, gains that purity of his antakarana. So with that pure antakarana gains knowledge and becomes medhavi, comes to recognize his own self and becomes free of all doubts, all samshaya, chinna samshayaha. Thereafter he doesn't dislike kamya karma, nor does he like nitya karma, naimittik karma. Means becomes free of the attachment to karma, because the sense of doership itself gets negated. So this is the ultimate aim and goal of all our sadhana. So the first step is to do all the sadhana by which we can purify our antakarana. That is the main thing. That is the path of karma yoga. So whatever be our varna, whatever be our ashrama, according to our varna ashrama, we should do our karma, and in that we should include yajna dana tapak karma, and all these karmas we should dedicate them to Ishvara. Means have that vision that ultimately through all this I have to attain Ishvara alone. I have nothing to do, gain in this world or the other world. My only aim and goal is to attain Ishvara, to attain oneness with that Supreme Brahma. So with this attitude in mind, when we do our sadhana, we will definitely reach our destination. Again, Bhagwan tells that it is not possible for an ignorant person to give up all karma. See, when we gain that knowledge, self-knowledge, one becomes free of the sense of doership. One becomes free of all karma. Means an enlightened person doesn't do any karma. So, as far as an enlightened person is concerned, the absolute sannyas of all karma has taken place. That is called paramarthik sannyas. So, that is possible only when one becomes totally enlightened. But when that ignorance is there and identification with the body is there, one should continue performing karma. So that is being said again and again. And Shankaracharya ji writes in his commentary before the 11th verse, he says कि यह पुनः अधिकृतः सन देहात्म अभिमानित्वेन देहभृत अज्ञः, one who is entitled to perform karma because he is identified with his body, because of his ignorance. Such a person अबाधितात्म कर्तृत्व विज्ञानतया अहम कर्ता इति निश्चित बुद्धि ही, one who has this definite understanding that I am the doer, such a person should perform karma without having attachment to the result, dedicating them to Ishvara, because he cannot give up all karma and gain that abidance in his self. If we have ignorance, we can't do that jnana nishtha, or we can't practice niridhyasan. If avidya is there, niridhyasan is not possible, because for niridhyasan one should be able to drop all karma, one should be able to drop the sense of doership, which is not possible for an ignorant person. And even if he tries, it is not possible to give up karma. So that is what now Bhagavan says in the 11th verse. So let us chant. Nahi deha bhritas shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagitya vidhiyate. Bhagavan says कि नहीं देह भृता शक्यम. Deha bhrit means one who is identified with the body, this gross body. Deham bibharti iti deha bhrit. Dehatma bhimananvan deha bhrit uchyate. Nahi viveki. He is not a viveki, but understands, considers the body as the self. That is the sign of ignorance. And for such an ignorant person who is totally identified with the gross body as well as subtle body, and one who identifies with all the activities of the gross body, subtle body, one who identifies with the jnanendriyas, with the karmendriyas, with the antakarana, and one who is convinced that he is the karta, bhokta, jnata, such a person is called an ignorant person. Avidyavan, deha bhrit. See, we have seen that this Atma is totally different from the gross body as well as the subtle body. And that Atma we experience all the time, but along with the gross body and subtle body. But in our deep sleep state, we experience that Atma separated from the gross body as well as subtle body. That is the Atma. That is absolutely different from the gross body as well as the subtle body. The activities of the gross body and subtle body has got nothing to do with that Atma. Atma doesn't get affected by all the activities of the gross physical body, nor by the activities of the subtle body. See, we have seen that whether a person is good or bad, when he goes to sleep, he experiences the same self. A papi also experiences the same self, and a punyatma also experiences the same self. What does it mean? It means that the self is not affected by pap and punya. Self is not affected by all karma. So that self is when we don't recognize it, when we don't know it, when we don't realize it, we mistake the gross body and the subtle body as our self. We mistake the activities of the gross body and the subtle body as our activity. That is the sign of ignorance. Just as in the sky, if you see the moon, it looks very stationary because it moves very slowly. The moon looks absolutely stationary. But if there are clouds in front of the moon, and if the cloud moves, then we feel as though the moon is moving. So the movement of the clouds are superimposed on the moon, and we say that the moon is moving, we feel the moon is moving, but the moon is not moving. When there are no clouds and when you look at the moon, it looks absolutely stationary. Similarly, that Atma is like the moon, and the activities of the body, the mind, are like the clouds. So when the activities are happening, I feel that I am doing, I am walking, I am talking, I am knowing, I am feeling, which is a wrong understanding. So such a person who has got this wrong understanding is called an ignorant person, is called Deha Bhrit. So Bhagavan says that Nahi Deha Bhrita Shakyam. For a Deha Bhrit, it is not possible to give up all actions. Tyaktum karmani asheshataha. To drop all actions and gain abidance in the self is not possible. And that is required if we want to pursue the path of Nididhyasan. See, Nididhyasan is a very subtle step, the ultimate step to gain that moksha, to gain enlightenment. But for Nididhyasan, one should gain that proper knowledge. Many people, in the name of meditation, they try to stop the activity of the mind. Chitta vritti nirodha. Like in Yoga Sutra, it is said, Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. To stop the activities of the mind is what is called chitta vritti nirodha. So many people, they try to stop the activity of the mind by stopping the thoughts. But that is also an activity of the mind. Whether the thoughts are there or you force the thought not to be there, both are activities of the mind only. To do or not to do are both activities of the mind. Nididhyasan is not an activity of the mind. Nididhyasan is subtler than that. In Nididhyasan, we have to drop the identification with the mind itself, which happens through proper knowledge, self-knowledge. So till that self-knowledge is not gained, one is identified with the body-mind, and that sense of doership is very strong. So we cannot drop all actions. If we try to drop actions, it will be just a hypocritical. Like Bhagavan had said, that one who doesn't do any physical action but just sit quietly, the mind will continue to act. So that is mithyachara only. So it is not possible to drop all actions and to gain abidance in the self when we are ignorant. So what is the solution? Nahi deha brita shakyam tyaktum karmani asheshatah. Yastu karma phalatyagi. Therefore, one should just drop the attachment to the result of action. One should continue performing actions. All our kartavya karma, including yajna dana tapak karma, which purifies our antakarana. We should not only perform those actions which are necessary for our livelihood, but we should also perform this yajna dana tapak karma, which purifies our antakarana with nishkam bhav, dedicating all the actions to Ishvara. Ishvararpitam nichaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. As Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi Ji says in Upadesaram, ki Ishvararpitam nichaya kritam, when we do karma, dedicating them to Ishvara without having any selfish desires, then chitta shodhakam, such karma purifies our antakarana, and mukti sadhakam, and leads us towards moksha. So yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi iti abhidiyate. So such a person alone is called tyagi. Person who does his karma but renounces the karma phala is called tyagi. And such a tyagi is also praised as a sannyasi. But he is a one who performs karma, dedicating them to Ishvara with nishkam bhav. But Atmajnani, one who has gained self-knowledge and who practices nididhyasan, gains abidance in his self, such a person has really become free of all karma. Such a person has really renounced all karma. Such a person is also called Paramarthik Sannyasi, the absolute sannyasi, who has not only renounced karma but also the sense of doership in all karma. So what is the result? What happens to this Paramarthik Sannyasi? What happens to Atmajnani when his body gets dropped? What happens to an Atmajnani when the gross body gets dropped? So that Bhagwan now tells in the next verse, verse number 12. Anishtam mishrancha trividham karmana phalam bhavatyatyāginām pretya natu sannyasinām kvachita. Bhagwan says that for a ignorant person, when he performs his karma and without attaining that self-realization, when he dies, then he gets three types of result. May get three types of result. What are the three types of result? Anishtam, Ishtam, Mishrancha, Trividha Karmana Phalam. These are the threefold results of all karma, which are performed by an ignorant person, even a spiritual seeker who has not attained self-realization, who performs actions dedicating them to Ishvara, but has not gained self-knowledge, has not gained abidance in the self, will gain these three types of result. What are they? Ishtam, Anishtam, Mishram. Anishtam. Anishtam means low type of result. Shankaracharya ji writes कि नरक तीर्यगादि लक्षणम. One may be born depending on our karma. If the papa karmas are more, a person is born in lower yonis or may go to naraka, etc. This one has seen before also. So depending on our karma, we gain the different lokas. So if papa karmas are more, one goes to naraka, the different types of hells. Many different varieties of hells are there. There is no only one type of hell. There are many types of hells. So one may go there or may get some lower yonis like of animals, birds, plant, where one only experiences the joys and sorrows, will not be able to pursue the spiritual path in this lower yonis. As a monkey, one cannot sit and meditate. As a buffalo, we can't do Shravan Manan. As an elephant, we can't do japa and all. So, in this lower yonis, one is born, or one may get ishtafala, a good result. Good result means what? May be born in higher yonis like those of devatas, devadi lakshanam. One may be born as devatas or as some higher beings, and according to the karma. Or mishram, or there might be a combination of good and bad karma. Pap and punya might be more or less equal. Then the person is born as a human being. Ishta anishta sanyuktam manushya lakshanam, is born as a human being and can continue with his karma as a human being. So who gets these three types of result? Bhavati atyaginam. Those who are not tyagi, means those who have not followed the spiritual path and have not attained that self-enlightenment. One who has not gained that enlightenment and dropped this world, dropped this gross body, then according to our karma we get the next birth. We have seen this in the 6th chapter also. So if a person is doing sincere sadhana but has not attained the goal, then he is born again to continue from where he left. Because the whole structure of this whole cosmos is very, very beautiful and very conducive. And those who pursue the spiritual path, then Bhagwan blesses them with the right environment so that jiva can continue further on his path. So bhavati atyaginam pretya. So those who have not attained enlightenment, those who are not the paramarthik sannyasi, such people, when they die, they get this threefold result. But the enlightened person, the paramarthik sannyasi, the one who has gained abidance in his self, and one who has renounced all action. Renounce all action means one who is abiding in that self which is free of all actions. See, when we are in deep sleep, our body, gross body, other people see it lying. That gross body continues to breathe. The circulation, digestion continue to happen in that gross physical body. But I am not doing anything. I am that Atma. I am not doing, I am not digesting food, I am not breathing, I am not circulating the blood. So I am not a doer of the physical actions, nor am I the doer of the actions of the mind, the intellect, nor am I the doer of the actions of the senses. That is the fact. And Atmajnani, one who has realized the self, recognizes this fact and is established in that self, which is not a doer. So such a sannyasi also we see expressing through a body. An enlightened person doesn't just disappear. We continue to see an enlightened person functioning as though through a body. Therefore, we know about enlightenment because of such great enlightened masters like Bhagwan, Ramana Maharshi Ji. He was seen functioning through a body. So, a sannyasi, enlightened master, is seen functioning through the body. But when that body gets dropped, then he is not born again. Then there is no more birth for an enlightened person. What happens? His gross body anyway disintegrates and becomes one with these 5 great elements. But his subtle body also disintegrates and becomes one with the totality. That individuality gets dissolved. There is no more individual to continue to take birth again and again. So a sannyasi, an enlightened person, doesn't get anishta, ishta, mishra phala, bad, good, or the combination of these two result is not gained by an enlightened person. And that itself is called moksha. So one should strive to attain this moksha by first following sincerely the path of karma yoga till one gains self-knowledge, and thereafter one should pursue the path of nididhyasana. These are the twofold path only. Path of karma and path of jnana it is called. So aru rukshor muner yogam karma karanam uchyate yogarudhasya tasyeva kshamak karanam uchyate. In the 6th chapter also Bhagavan had said that those who want to pursue this path of meditation and gain enlightenment should first follow the path of karma. And once through karma the chitta shuddhi happens and one becomes yogarud, one becomes fit for nididhyasana by gaining that self-knowledge, and the chitta has become pure, then one should pursue the path of nididhyasana and gain abidance in the self. So, in a state of ignorance, we can't do this because of our identification with the body and the mind. So that creates an obstacle. So what is this identification, and how, with what does we identify? How exactly that action happens, and how do we identify with these factors? That is beautifully analyzed now in the following verses. Shankaracharya ji in his commentary he writes कि अतः परमार्थदर्शिनः एव अशेष कर्म संन्यासित्वं संभवति. Bhagavan says only for a paramarthik one who has seen that Supreme Self, that person alone can renounce all actions completely, absolutely. But avidya adhyaropitatvat atmani kriya karaka phalanam natu adnyasya adhishthanadini, but an ignorant person who has falsely superimposed a negative, wrong idea on his own self, that I am the body, I am the mind, therefore I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the knower. In this way, one who has falsely identified with the activities of the body, the mind, on himself, such a person cannot renounce all actions. So how this identification has happened? What do we mean by the self getting identified with this body, mind, etc.? That is beautifully analyzed in the following verses. So let us chant verse number 13. Pancetani mahabaho karanani nibodha me sankhe kritante proktani siddhaye sarvakarmanam. Panche mani mahabaho karanani nibodha me Sankhye kritante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam. There are two readings actually. In some books it is panchetani, and sometimes this other word is also used, panchemani. But the meaning is same. So pancha etani mahabaho karanani nibodhame. Hey Mahabaho, hey Arjuna, you understand that when an action happens, whether the action is happening at the level of the body, the speech, the mind, what are the factors involved in an action for that action to happen? So it's a beautiful analysis. Bhagavan says there are 5 factors involved. Pancha etani mahabaho karanani, causes. Nibodhame, you understand here, Arjuna. And this siddhaye sarva karmanam, for all karmas to happen, these 5 factors are necessary. If even any one of them is missing, then action will not happen. So any action is a combination of these factors. It is not only one thing which is making the action happens. Even in a machine and all, we find that it keeps on working. Then suddenly it stops. Then we open and check what is wrong. So a lot of factors are there. So even if something is not working properly, or broken, then the whole thing comes to a halt. So we replace that part, and then again it starts functioning. Similarly, we see actions happening at the level of our body. Lot of actions are happening right from the time this body was there in the mother's womb. It continues to function, it continues to act. Then it is born, continues to act. We learn to walk, we learn to talk, we learn to perform various types of actions. So at the level of the body, lot of actions happen. And this body is such a wonderful equipment that lot of complex actions also we can do. Even this hand itself is such a marvelous thing. The fingers, the thumb, We can use our hand to create various types of tools, and achieve a lot of work in this world. But if you look within, the senses are working, the karmendriyas are working, and they are very complex. See, when I see, let us say, an object, I gain that knowledge of that object. I see a rose and I get the knowledge of that rose. Or I hear a sound, I get that knowledge of that sound. But how exactly this happens is a very, very subtle process is there. Very subtle. See, in order to measure something, we need an appropriate equipment to measure. Suppose you want to measure a length, then you should have a unit of length with which we can measure. If you want to measure the size of the book, let us say, so you have that unit of centimeters or inches, and then you compare that standard unit with that book, and when it matches perfectly, then you check the standard unit. So that is the measure of that book. So in order to measure length, we should have a unit of length. To measure sound, we should have some unit of sound. Because whatever we want to measure, same level of unit is required. Now, our senses are also constantly measuring the world. See, when we hear a sound, what happens? The sound is expression of Akash Tattva. So Akash Tattva, in Akash Tattva there is sound outside. So how do I know that sound? Because in me also that Akash Tattva is there, which is expressing as my Shabdendriya, as my Shrut, what you call my ears. My ears are made from the same material which goes to make the sound outside, that is space. So the space outside is there, and the space is there within as my ears. So the sound, when it is made outside, a similar sound is created in my within in the ear, and I measure that when it is equal, I understand the sound outside through the equipment of ears. Just like we have that thermometer. If I want to understand the temperature, let us say of a water, I dip that thermometer in that water. So the temperature of the water, and in the thermometer that mercury is there, the mercury also rises to the same temperature. So the temperature of the water and temperature of the mercury becomes equal. I come to know what is the temperature. Similarly, the sound outside and the sound in my ear become same. I come to know that outside sound. When the form outside becomes same as the form in my eyes, I come to know the form outside. So our sense organs are measuring instruments. They are made from the same material as the world is made. the Pancha Mahabhut. The Pancha Mahabhut has made the world. Same Pancha Mahabhut have made our 5 organs of perception. So this activity of knowing is happening through our senses, and we also use our mind, our intellect to infer, to evaluate, to decide, to conclude, to remember. So, lot of activity happens in our mind, the equipment called mind, in the buddhi, in the chitta, in the ahankar. So all these activities which are happening at the level of our body and at the level of our sukshma sharir, they are called all karmas. For all these karmas to happen, Bhagavan says 5 factors are required. And we will see this. All these 5 factors are part of Prakriti only. Atma is different from these 5 factors. Therefore it was said before, Bhagavan had said that all these actions are done by Prakriti. Prakriti kriyamanani gunaik karmani sarvashah ahankar vimudhatma karta ahamiti manyate. All this Prakriti, factors of Prakriti only, are responsible for all these actions, but that Atma, Shuddha Atma, is not doing anything. But out of ignorance, we think that I am doing. So to make this clear, Bhagavan is giving this knowledge here. Ki 5 factors are there for any action to happen. Siddhaye sarva karmanam. Where is this knowledge given? Bhagavan says, Sankhye kritante proktani, in the Shastras. Our Shastras are very deep, very beautiful, most fascinating. The science, many people talk great about science. No doubt science is great, but science is in the kindergarten level compared to the Shastras. Science has not understood the secret of this world. Science has not understood the secret of their own self yet. So that Shastra is called Sankhya. Sankhya means the Vedanta. Vedanta is called Sankhya. It's also called Kritanta. Why it is called Sankhya? Shankaracharya ji writes, कि ज्ञातव्या पदार्थाः संख्यायन्ते यस्मिन् शास्त्रे तत्सांख्यम वेदान्तः. That all those factors which have to be known are enumerated in this, in the Vedas, in the Upanishads. They are enumerated. They are numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that enumeration is called Sankhya. It has come from the word Sankhya. Sankhya means number. Sankhya means enumerated. Enumeration. Numbered. So it is another name of Vedanta only. See, that Sankhya philosophy is there of Dvaita. That is, they have taken this word Sankhya from Vedanta. They have taken that word Sankhya from the Vedas. But the original word Sankhya is from the Vedas, and originally Sankhya means Vedanta only. Vedanta, also another name for that is Kritanta. Kritanta means what? Kritanta means that knowledge which brings an end to all karma. Hmm? Krutante iti tasya eva visheshanam krutam iti karma. All that is done is called krutam karma. Uchyate tasya antah krutasya parisamaptihi. The conclusion, the end of all karma happens by the knowledge which is revealed in the Upanishad. When one gains that self-knowledge, one becomes free of all karma. Means all karmas, they merge in this knowledge. We have mentioned before also, कि सर्वम कर्माखिलम पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते. All karmas merge in jnana, in knowledge. So when we gain self-knowledge, we become free of the false sense of doership which we have. So we become free of all karma and the kartrutva bhavana. So the self-knowledge becomes an what to call cause for an end of all karma. Therefore it is called Kritanta. So Sankhya or Kritanta means Vedanta. Vedanta means the Upanishad, the knowledge revealed in the Upanishad. So Bhagavan says that even Bhagavan quotes Upanishad because they are the Praman. No doubt it has come from that Brahma only, but even when Bhagavan takes avatar and when he has to teach, he quotes the Upanishads. He doesn't say, I am saying so, you just follow me. No. He says, same is said in the Vedas, in the Upanishad. So the Shastra Praman is given importance. So Sankhya Kritante Proktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam. For all actions to happen, these 5 factors are required. What are the 5 factors? That Bhagavan now tells in the next verse. So let us chant. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prathak vidham vividhascha prathak cheshtaha daivam chaivatra panchamam. Bhagavan says, for any actions, any karma to take place, these 5 factors are required. What are they? First, adhishthanam, the support, the substratum. What is that substratum? The sharira, the body, the physical body. Ichha, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, jnanadinam abhivyakte ashrayah adhishthanam shariram. Sharira is required. First we will just see the factors, and in detail we can contemplate in our class tomorrow. So the one factor required is body. Without body we can't act. So some support is required through which that action happens. So the body becomes the support, the locus from where all actions happen. So it's called adhishthanam. Then tatha karta. Karta means there should be a doer of action. Any action happening, there must be a doer of that action. Action can't just happen just like that. There must be a doer of that action. If doer is not there, action will not happen. So who exactly is the doer and all those things we will discuss. Then karanam. Karanam are the instruments. Body is there, doer is there, but instrument should be there. The organs of actions required, the organs of perception required, then the antakarana is required, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. All these are like karana, the instruments. Suppose you want to cook, then we require all the utensils, all the equipments in order to cook. Suppose I say I am a cook and somebody says, okay, now cook. I require all the equipments. Without that, I cannot cook. Similarly, if I am a doer, the doer requires equipment. In order to see requires eyes, in order to hear requires ears, in order to smell requires nose. So karanam cha prathak vidham, the variety of karana. They are not one, there are so many. The 5 organs of action, the 5 organs of perception, the antakarana chatushtaya, all these are equipments, instruments, variety of instruments. What is the function of ears cannot be taken up by the nose. The function of eyes cannot be taken by the skin. So all of them are different and they have their own functions. So prathak vidham. Then vividhascha prathak cheshta. Then all this equipment have to be activated. Their powerhouse, what you call power is required, energy is required to make all this equipment function. Like we have some electrical equipment, but that power failure is there, we can't use it. Or if you have a mobile but the battery has got discharge, you can't use it. So energy, power is required to express in various activities. So that is provided by the pranas, the pancha pranas. The pranas are there. So vividhascha pratak cheshtaha. They express in various types of activities. So even the eyes, they can see because of the prana shakti. The ears can hear because of prana shakti. The mouth can speak because of prana shakti. Mind can think because of prana shakti. The digestion, circulation and all those things happen because of prana shakti. So the vividhaha prathak cheshta, the different types of cheshta, the different types of actions happen because of these pranas. So they are also required. If the pranas are not there, activities will not happen. Then Daiva. Daiva is the what you call the Adhisthana Devatas for all this equipment, the Antakarana, the Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, the respective Devatas are there who are making those activities possible. Eyes can see when Aditya Devata is there, blessing it. The Devata, the sun. The sun Devata is there in my eyes. The sun Devata is there in that sun who make the seeing possible. Similarly, the Dig Devata is there in my ears. The Dig Devata is there in the space Devata, because of whom I can hear. So these Devatas are also important for any actions to happen. So for all activities to happen, these 5 factors are there. अधिष्ठानम तथा कर्ता karanam cha prathak vidham vividhascha prathak chesta and daivam. And later on Bhagavan will say these five are different from Atma. Atma is different from all of them. These five are just expression of the Prakriti only. But due to ignorance, we identify with this Prakriti. That we had seen in the 13th chapter also. So these five factors are very beautiful, very important to understand. So we will contemplate on this in our class tomorrow. But you too think about it, contemplate, try to understand. Okay? So till then you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, contemplate, understand, and we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांतिः. हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम.